Sorry. Hi, everyone. That's probably loud. Okay, it's been like a week and a half since I last did one of these, since I last recorded and posted one of these. And I probably should just hit record again. I'm not going to. I'm just going to talk over this. So I apologize for the beginning. But yeah, there's a trillion reasons why I haven't done it in the last week and a half. But people tend to enjoy blaming one specific thing. Let's ignore that life is complex, filled with subtlety and nuance, and say, he did it. It was all him. Like, punish him or whatever. Maybe it's circumstances. It doesn't have to be a person or something like that. But we like to point to one thing and say that's the guilty party and it did everything. And so if there's one thing to point to, it's like my motivation, right? I wasn't feeling motivated. But then I woke up this morning and decided it's time for momentum to start momenting or whatever it would do. And so I'm going to read an old one. It's from like a year and a half ago on a Saturday. Today is Saturday. And if I'm ever going to get structured about how I'm doing this, post on Saturdays would be that structure. Because I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons back in that age. The age started in like the 60s. I was like a negative teen. I was born in 1980. And so when Hanna-Barbera was a household name, I had like spirit angst and whatever is, typical of the unborn. But then when I was, in my childhood, my formative little tiny me years, it continued, the Saturday morning cartoon structure continued. And that was the one day of the week where life's obligations were just nowhere to be found. It's this intermission where you're free to be present in like a distracted, absent way. But today, just life insists on hijacking all. I mean, it's like attention mongering every moment of your life. But there was a time when we had that little intermission. And so the book I'm writing is for the people who remember that time or value an intermission, value as sort of absent presence. So let me read today's so I can get this done, posted on a Saturday. Number 16, Saturday, New Year's Day, 2022, packing for an adventure. Hi, everyone. I hope your 2022 is better than your 2021. For most of us, that's a pretty meager hope. This year, I have decided to make a resolution. I never do. The last time I changed anything about myself on account of the date, I was probably 7, maybe 8, definitely younger than 10. Ordinarily, if I identify a personal flaw or improvable behavior, I confront it at the moment of revelation. I don't table it for later, as in, I have come to understand the value of yoga, but it's Valentine's Day, so I'll attempt my first tree pose in 322 days because of leap year. Otherwise, I'd get started a day sooner. That seems pointlessly bureaucratic, as though the ratification of my new constitution must await a formal convention. I recognize that large life changes are easier to make than maintain. Long-term maintenance seems to be a challenge. Many Christians recognize this challenge too. They can be found lenting away sweets for up to, but no longer than, 40 days at a time. A whole year without indulgence, though, a whole resolution's worth of sacrifice, that's asking a bit much, depending on one's definition of sweets. Does figgy pudding count? These days, even Lent feels like 2, maybe 3 forevers. You can't see the finish line from the starting blocks. No reason to strain my resolve for so long, unless my deeper resolution is to disappoint myself. A single week, though, that feels manageable. So here's my manageable resolution. I'm going to write one of these journals every day for a week, counting today, which means I'm already 14.3% of the way to my goal. Why am I doing this rather than, say, yoga? Because all 5 books in the series are epistolary, and the first one is a series of journal entries. The protagonist writes in his journal every day. By writing in my own journal every day, I can better emulate and understand him. Enough with the discipline-free, write whenever I feel like it structure. It's time to start clocking in for work on a reliable schedule. What am I going to do? What am I going to write about in these journals? I don't know yet. I'll decide tomorrow morning when I embark on a 6-day voyage. Upon getting out of bed, I'll pick my destination, the topic to be explored, and I'll explore it every day. I am really doing a bad job with this one. I'm sorry. I'll explore it day after day, after day after day after day after day. Is that all six? Maybe I'll get sidetracked along the way, but I'll eventually get there. Every sentimental protagonist, one way or another, manages to arrive. But none of them ever does so without straying from the path most traveled by. There's always a little surprise. Okay, that does it. My bags are packed. I hope you bon voyage with me tomorrow. Okay, that was it. That was the worst reading I've done. I just don't have, I talked about my motivation at the beginning of this. I just don't have the energy to like stop and try to do it again. So this is what you get today. And I hope, my departing hope, is that your resolutions are still in effect and will be tomorrow and the next tomorrow, whatever, until they expire. Okay, bye everybody.